Hey, how's it going guys? It's your boy. And well, today's video is unusual because today I am not responding in the old way I used to respond to this person who, well, you already know because it's the title of the video. And instead I've got to be a bit more tactful, hell of a lot more respectful, but at the same time, I have something else I can be disappointed. And I'm talking about, well, Laci Green. Because recently she's made some really stupid comments about men. One man in particular, Mark Kern. Now, for some context, basically Henry Cavill, Superman, has come out and talked about #MeToo, which he's also since apologised for, which, as we all know, you do not apologise to SJWs, but that's besides the point. Basically, he was talking about how he was afraid under the current climate, especially in California, but to be fair, this climate has been around for nigh over a decade, of interacting with women because he's afraid of being arrested, he's being afraid of being reported, he's being afraid of these false allegations and potentially even being misunderstood because of the #MeToo movement and the climate of fear that it and feminism as a whole has created for men. Now, I know he didn't say it like I said it, but that's what he said, and he got a lot of backlash for it. And Mark Kern wrote this tweet, which was in support of Henry, basically backing him up. And let's just read this out. Guys, first moves are over. Women, it's all you now. You have to call us, send us gifts, do all the asking out and paying for dinner, make the first move and provide consent paperwork in triplicate for the goodnight kiss. We quit. Now what does he mean by this? Well, what he means is this, that this society, and especially feminism and especially #MeToo, have created such a climate of fear. They've damaged gender relations to such a severe extent that now really there's no point with men trying to make the first move because there's too much baggage with it, there's too much risk. Now, personally, as much as I agree with this, I think for the most part, although I think a lot of men are aware of this, I think they probably don't think it's that bad of a risk, so they continue to make the first move. Because let's be honest here, I don't think women are going to adapt particularly well to that, because this is just not how our species have happened to evolve. Yes, some women do make the first move, there are always exceptions to the rule, but that's just not how we as a species mate or try to attract mates. And it's also what a lot of other species do. That's going to be something that's probably not going to happen, but that's to the detriment of everybody. Is it really going to be better for men if they do? At least in terms of this. I mean, obviously it would create more relationships, perhaps even better relationships, I don't know. But does it solve that actual issue? Not really. It kind of just, the same things can still happen and the same attitudes still apply in many ways. But regardless, somebody else called Jesse Single responded to this. Bad news, ladies. Mark Kern isn't going to hit on you anymore. Hope you're happy. Now, I'm pretty sure he is in a relationship, at least as far as I know when he was in Gamergate. And even if he isn't, so what? Why is this something to be mocked about? Him saying, look, I am fed up of this climate of fear, I am fed up of having to make the first move and put so much risk into this, and to dare to ask somebody out, because it takes a lot of guts to ask somebody out, especially when all the onus is on you and not on them. And let's not forget that the power is with this particular person, because it is a woman. They have the power to say yes or no 99% of the time. It's not the men who choose, but the women. He's saying, forget all that, because you've now made it even worse for me. I'm out. I can't even approach you normally without potentially being accused of being like a rapist or a pervert or some kind of pest. But she's mocking him for agreeing with Henry Cavill and raising a good point about fear. Men's fears about this sexual marketplace, for lack of a better term. I know this touches upon men should be open about their feelings, but I'll get towards that in the end. Because, lo and behold, here comes Laci. These temper tantrums over basic human decency are so embarrassing. So, creating a climate of fear and a witch hunt against men is human decency, Laci. Do you understand what you just said? I guess what she thinks in her head, that she means human decency, being nice to a woman, being respectful, trying to do the right thing, not being, the stereotype, a wolf whistler or, groping somebody, even though women also do those things. And I guess also she means trying to be aware of sexual assault and to, report it and things like that. Even though that isn't what Henry Cavill and especially Kern are actually talking about. They're not talking about sexual assault survivors or anything like that. They're talking about men and the position that we're in, not women. Why do they have to constantly bring up women when this is strictly about the men? Well, we all know why. Because they're feminists, and that's what they do. Also, note that Kern is not actually throwing a temper tantrum. Yes, he's being very blunt and direct, but he's certainly not throwing a tantrum. He's just telling it, in his opinion, as it is. And Henry Cavill is certainly not throwing a tantrum. I thought, from what I've seen, he was, very respectful and tried to choose his words carefully, and in the end got a massive backlash just by saying something that basically a lot of people are thinking. If you're not careful, Mark Kern might not send you gifts, Jesse Single says. To which one man says, I hope you like cats. That joke never gets old. Now there's a few other comments where people try to, correct them and debate them on this topic, but here's where I talk about the whole thing about men and being open, because these are the same people. Laci Green has definitely said this. I don't know who Jessie Single is, but I'm sure she would agree with me and Laci, because I'm definitely sure, again, she has said this, that men need to be more open about their feelings. Men need to be more open about their place in the world and talk about these things so we can all make things better, right? Well, how come when a man and another man express their worries and fears about interacting with women, interacting in a way to, attract a potential partner, to raise a family, or to even just have sex, it can be as base as that. How come they can't talk about these things in an honest, open and friendly manner, or in Kern's case, a bit blunt and direct and, slightly uppity, but again, he's not harming anybody. How come they can't do this without a massive backlash, which you are a part of, by the same types of people who want them to be open about their feelings? Is it me, Laci, or do you just want them to be open about things that you want them to be open with? And do those things that you want them to be open with things that resonate with you? And especially with your agenda and your politics and maybe your own views on men, you just want them to say things that you want them to say? Is that how it's meant to be? Is that what I'm actually meant to read between the lines about? Because that's what I get from you lot. You don't actually want men to be honest, you want men to say things that you want them to say. And I'm sorry, but for most men, for at least men that I've met, and I would count myself among them, if you tell me to be open about these things, I will tell you the honest truth and be quite blunt with it. I know that's not every guy, but if push comes to shove, if we need to be honest, we will be. And what we might say might not be nice, it might not be good, it might not be something you want to hear, but we'll say it. You asked. But then what's the point in saying it? Because as soon as we say it, we'll get a backlash. You will complain. You will do exactly what you don't want to be. You will do what you think other people attack men for. And the cycle continues. Also, it's very interesting that you and Jessie Single go on about decency when it's pretty clear you two aren't being the decent ones here, and you certainly show a lack of empathy. You seem to be completely unaware of the feelings of a lot of men. You should be empathising with this fear. If you want people to come together, Laci, like you were during VidCon, then you should really be trying to work on that a bit more when it comes to the two genders, because politically you seem to want people to come together and all sing Kumbaya, but you don't particularly want men and women to come together and sing Kumbaya. No, it seems to me that you're perfectly okay with the status quo, where things are going pear-shaped and men are becoming afraid to approach women, and then you wonder why more women aren't being in relationships by the time they're in their 30s and even having kids. You wonder why. But it's okay. You still have a boyfriend, a loving boyfriend, a nice guy, an excellent, intelligent man. You're lucky. And you two will spend the rest of your lives together, hopefully, and have a good time. But maybe even have kids. I don't know. I don't know you. I don't read your mind, but you could potentially. But for a lot of men and women, that's probably not going to happen. See, with men, we're lucky in the sense that we can continue having kids well into old age. But then again, we're better off having it young, because the best genes get passed on when you're younger. Women, not so much. There's that biological clock, as they say. And I don't think attitudes that you present here are helping those women. Because it's not just feminist women, the people who we think are going to become the cat ladies of the world in 30 years' time, who are going to suffer from chronic loneliness, but even normal women, women who have done nothing wrong, who aren't anything like this, because remember, they're the majority normal women. The ones who aren't like that, who aren't causing any issues. I mean, some MITCH can argue that they are causing issues, but I don't think so. I don't think they intend to do anything. They're going to suffer too because of this climate affair that you, as the loud, dominant minority, have created. Yes, Laci, even though you, as an individual, did not create this single-handedly, you, with the propaganda and things that you have spouted before and since, is contributing to this terrible situation between agendas that we are currently facing. It's not too late, but it's not looking good. You can actually perhaps change things by just being more empathetic, more sympathetic, and actually going by your word and wanting to hear what men have to say rather than balk at it when they are honest. Because normal women are going to suffer, normal men are going to suffer. The men will claim, and MITCH especially will claim that, we guys will be fine, we're self-sufficient, we'll be good. No, men don't like loneliness as well. I've had my issues with loneliness in the past. Loneliness isn't a good emotion, it isn't a good feeling. Loneliness potentially could even cause death, and we don't want that. We want everybody to be happy, at least as many people as possible, and in loving relationships. Isn't that what we want? I don't know, I've gone on a bit too long. I hope I was respectful enough, I hope I was tactful enough, I hope my opinion came through with this, Laci. I'm just trying to help you, I'm just trying to make sure you understand what guys feel, because I don't think things like this are helping. I think it makes things worse. I think you grossly misunderstood what Kern was saying, or misrepresented what he was saying, and I think, just show some tact, show some empathy, be sympathetic to men. If you want to make the world a better place and more equal between the genders, then you've got to start thinking more about men too. But I don't know. Until next time, it's been your boy, and I'll see you later.